So you're thinking about picking up a Panasonic LUMIX S5. Huh. But is it still worth it in 2024?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
That's what we're here to find out. We're taking a deep dive into a super detailed review.
Really breaking it down.
Yeah, exactly. To help you decide if this camera is still a contender. Or, maybe it's fading into the background a bit with all the new releases.
There are a lot of new cameras out
There
there.
are so many. Okay, so let's start with the heart of the camera, the sensor.
Right.
It's a 24.2 megapixel full frame CMOS sensor.
Okay.
Now, I know some people see that number and think, wait, there are cameras with way more megapixels than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So is that like a deal breaker?
Well, not really. It's not just about megapixels, you know? It's one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
The S5 sensor, it really shines when it comes to dynamic range.
Dynamic range, okay.
Yeah, and the review actually specifically mentioned that you can recover a ton of detail, like in areas like blown out skies.
Yeah.
So that means you have tons of flexibility when you're editing.
So even if I mess up the exposure a little bit,
Exactly.
I can still kind of save it in post.
You got it.
That's pretty awesome. What about low light performance?
Also really good.
Hmm.
You can push the ISO to 6400 or even higher, and it still holds up.
So for like those nighttime cityscapes?
Yeah.
Or like indoor shots where you don't really want to use a flash?
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
The review also mentioned this dual native ISO thing. What is that all about?
Oh, yeah. That's a cool feature.
Yeah.
It basically means the camera can capture more detail and less noise when the lighting is tough.
Okay.
So think of it as like a secret weapon for low light shooting.
I like that secret weapon.
Yeah. It's all about getting the best possible image, even when the lighting isn't cooperating.
Right. And the review mentions a photographer, Jamie Windsor,
Oh, yeah.
who is known for incredible landscape photography. And he is a big fan of the LUMX line. So
He knows his stuff, so that says something.
exactly. Okay, let's talk lenses.
Right.
The S5 uses the L-mount system, which is a collaboration between Panasonic Leica and Sigma.
Yeah. A good team.
It is a good team, but now Leica lenses are known for their incredible quality.
Oh, yeah. Top notch.
But they're also
They can be pricey.
pricey. Yeah.
But the cool thing with the L-mount system is that you can use a wide range of lenses
Okay.
from affordable options all the way up to those high-end Leica lenses.
Oh, wow. So I could actually put a really expensive Leica lens on this camera.
You absolutely could.
That's kind of amazing. So it's very versatile in that way. And Panasonic has their own line of L-mount lenses too, right?
They do, and they have some fantastic options specifically for the S5. So whether you're into landscapes, you need that wide-angle view, or shooting portraits and you want that creamy, blurry background,
Yeah.
there's a Panasonic lens out there.
Yeah. The review even recommended the Sigma 16-28mm for landscapes and the Panasonic LUMX S50mm f1.8 for portraits.
Oh, those are both great choices.
Yeah. So plenty of options there.
You got it.
Okay, so we've got to talk about the elephant in the room,
Oh, here we go.
the autofocus.
Yeah, the review wasn't super impressed with that.
It wasn't glowing.
It's true. It's not as snappy as some of the newer models out there. It's a contrast-based system, which can be a little slower,
Right.
particularly when you're trying to track moving subjects.
Okay, so maybe not ideal if I'm trying to photograph cheetahs on the Serengeti,
Probably not the best tool for that.
but if I'm just, taking pictures of my dog running around the park,
Yeah, your dog's probably not that fast.
my dog's not that fast. It might be okay for that.
Yeah, it'll probably do the trick for that.
Okay, good to know. But where Panasonic really focused their attention
Yeah.
is when you hold this camera in your hand, the ergonomics, the feel.
Gotcha.
The review was raving about it. It's lightweight, it's got a comfortable grip, and like a really well-organized menu system.
It's easy to use.
Yeah, and they mentioned the articulating touchscreen. What role does that play?
It's super bright, it's responsive, and it just makes navigating those menus so easy. Plus, you can use it to compose shots from different angles, which is really handy.
And wait a minute, this thing is weather sealed.
It is.
Really?
You can take it out in light rain.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of dust, no problem.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like ready for adventure.
It's a go-anywhere camera.
I like it. The review even said it feels like an extension of yourself
Hmm.
rather than like a clunky piece of tech.
It's meant to be an intuitive tool.
Yeah. So speaking of tools, let's talk about video.
All right, let's do it.
Because this isn't just a stills camera. The S5 can shoot some serious video, too.
Oh, for sure.
So we're talking 4K recording at up to 60 frames per second.
It's a beast.
That's pretty impressive. But what really sets it apart when it comes to video?
Well, for starters, it can record internally in 10-bit 4.2.2,
Okay.
which gives you so much flexibility when you're editing, especially for color grading.
So for people who are really serious about color,
Yeah, if you want that fine-tuned control.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, and there's no recording limit.
Oh, wow.
You can capture those long takes without having to stop. And it's got in-body image stabilization,
Okay.
which is super helpful when you're shooting handheld.
So it's kind of like you get those professional level video features, but in a smaller, more affordable package.
That's a great way to put it.
And the review even mentioned anamorphic shooting modes
Oh, yeah.
for that cinematic widescreen look.
Love that look.
So it can really do it all. Are there any downsides to the video features? Anything people should watch out for?
Well, at the higher video settings, you might need to use an external recorder to help manage the heat, but that's actually fairly common
Okay.
for cameras in this price range.
So it's something to keep in mind. The review did mention, though, that with the right color profile
Yeah.
and some good post-processing skills,
Yeah.
you can get some seriously impressive video quality.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about something very practical. Battery life.
Gotta have juice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Am I going to be carrying around a bag full of batteries, or will this thing last me a while?
You should be able to get like 400 to 500 shots on average
Okay.
per charge, which is pretty decent.
That's not bad.
And it charges via USB-C, so
Convenient.
yeah, very convenient.
We already talked about the weather sealing,
Mhm.
but the review really emphasized its overall durability.
Go tough camera.
Yeah, they even mentioned wedding photographers who use it for long shoots without any problems.
Wow, so it can really handle the pressure.
It sounds like the S5 is built to last. But
Yeah.
now the big question is it still worth buying in 2024?
That's what we're here to find
Yeah,
out.
it's the million-dollar question.
Right.
Okay, so no camera is perfect for everyone.
Definitely not.
But who would you say this camera is really ideal for?
Well, the review highlighted a few types of photographers and videographers who would love this camera. Well, first off, if you're an enthusiast photographer
Okay.
who's looking to make that jump to full frame,
Yeah.
but, you don't want to break the bank,
Right.
the S5 is a fantastic option.
So you're saying I can get that professional look without needing to, like, remortgage my house?
Pretty much.
That's pretty good. What other types of creators would this camera be a good fit for?
Video creators on a budget who want some of those pro-level features we talked about. You know, that 10-bit recording, the anamorphic modes, no recording limits. It's a lot of camera for the money.
Right. So like aspiring YouTubers.
Exactly.
Indie filmmakers kind of looking to step up their game a little bit.
For sure. Oh, and also landscape portrait and street photographers
Okay.
who really value image quality and ease of use. The S5 delivers on both of those fronts.
Yeah, I feel like with those genres, it's all about like that blend of portability
You got to be able to move around.
and performance. Right.
Right.
What about professional photographers? Would this camera work for them?
Absolutely. It's a workhorse,
Mm-hmm.
you know, built to last,
Mm.
durable, weather sealed,
Right.
and it's got that comfortable, intuitive design that we were talking about.
So it's like you can really depend on it.
It's your trusted sidekick.
Yeah, I like that. But the review did mention some situations where the S5 might not be the best choice.
Right. There are always trade-offs.
What are those?
If you're shooting like fast action sports or wildlife,
Okay.
where super fast autofocus is absolutely crucial,
Yeah.
you know, there might be other cameras out there that would be a better fit.
Okay.
The S5's contrast-based system just isn't quite as snappy as some of the newer phase detection systems.
And you mentioned earlier that the L-mount system could feel a bit limiting compared to like Sony's E-mount.
Yeah.
But aren't there still like enough lenses out there for most types of photography?
There are a lot of excellent L-mount lenses out there.
Okay.
And both Panasonic and Sigma, they're constantly expanding their offerings.
Mm-hmm.
But if you need a super specialized lens for a really niche type of photography,
Right.
you might have more choices with other systems,
Yeah. Okay, so it's really about kind of knowing what you need.
knowing your priorities.
Exactly, yeah. What about resolution? Is 24 megapixels enough these days?
You know, for most photographers, 24 megapixels is plenty.
Okay.
It gives you enough detail for large prints,
Mm.
and it allows for some cropping.
Mm.
But if you need like massive billboard-sized images,
Oh, wow.
or you find yourself cropping really heavily all the time,
Okay.
you might want to consider a camera with a higher resolution sensor.
Okay, that makes sense. But, I mean, overall, the review was really positive about the S5.
They were.
They even called it a classic.
It's a classic for a reason, you know? It's a camera that consistently performs well,
Right.
and it delivers on its promises. It might not have all the bells and whistles of the
Mhm.
newest models,
Right.
but it offers a really solid foundation for both photography and video.
And I really liked how the review emphasized that a camera is an investment in your craft.
Yeah, it's not just about the specs.
Right.
It's about How that tool helps you express your creativity,
Mm.
how it helps you capture the world the way you see it.
Yeah, I love that. So the S5, with its kind of balance of features, performance, and affordability,
Yeah.
it makes that investment accessible to a lot of creators.
Exactly.
Speaking of affordability, the
Yes.
review had some good advice about getting the best deal.
Always important.
What did they say?
Well, comparing prices from different retailers is key.
Hmm,
You might be surprised at the variations you find.
that's good advice. What about the used market?
Oh, yeah. The used market is a great option. You can often find cameras in great condition for a fraction of the price.
Exactly. But always buy from a reputable source.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Make sure you inspect the camera carefully.
Absolutely.
What about lenses? Any tips on kind of navigating that world?
It's a good idea to do your research early on.
Yeah.
Figure out which L-mount lenses really suit your shooting style
Okay.
and the types of photography you plan to do. That'll help you avoid, those impulse purchases.
Right.
And make sure you're building a lens collection that really meets your specific needs.
So kind of think long term.
Exactly.
Be strategic.
Yeah.
Any other practical tips for potential S5 owners out there?
If you're planning to shoot a lot of video, invest in some extra batteries
Okay.
and a large external hard drive.
Right.
Because those high-quality video files can eat up storage space pretty quickly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and you don't want to run out of power in the middle of a shoot.
Right. Those are some good practical tips.
Got to be prepared.
Exactly. Okay, so it sounds like the Panasonic LUMIX S5 is still a very relevant and capable camera in 2024.
It is.
It's a great all-rounder that offers a lot of value for the price.
You get a lot of bang for your buck.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From image quality and video capabilities to the autofocus and, those all-important practical considerations.
All about getting the full picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to that thought-provoking question from the review.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, it said that a camera is an investment in your craft.
Such a good line.
So thinking about everything we've discussed today,
Yeah.
what kind of creative journey would you embark on with the S5 as your tool?
What stories would you tell? What moments would you capture?
It really is a great question to think about.
Yeah, it's not just about the camera itself.
Right.
It's about, what it allows you to do.
Exactly. I mean, we've given you a lot of information today, but
A lot to digest.
yeah, but the best way to know if a camera's right for you is to get it in your hands.
You got to try it out.
Yeah, go to a camera store, maybe rent the S5 for a weekend, see how it feels, experiment with it,
Exactly. Play around with the settings.
and most importantly, just have fun.
Yeah, photography should be fun.
It should be. At the end of the day, it's about capturing those moments, telling your story.
Expressing yourself.
Yes, and the right camera can help you do that.
It's a tool.
It is. So whether you choose the Panasonic LUMIX S5 or a different camera altogether,
Yeah.
hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding of what to look for.
And how to find that perfect camera for you.
Exactly. And hey, maybe this has sparked your interest in other cameras or photography techniques.
Oh, yeah, there's so much to explore.
There's a whole world out there, so be sure to stay tuned because we've got more deep dives coming your way.
We'll keep them coming.
We will. Until then, happy shooting, everyone.
Happy shooting.